For more than 20 years, CTV has captured the moments that matter in our community. From our studios in St. Clair, you're watching Focus with Paul Dingeman.
Well, welcome to a special edition of the Focus program. This is, we'll call it for lack of a better term, the St. Clair River Classic Focus program, probably the first one of a number through between now and race time in the end of July. We are glad you are along. We've got a number of interviews lined up, and then there was a press conference held on Wednesday, the 26th of June, and runs about 25 minutes, and we have that in its entirety at the completion of the first part of this program. But we want to start with a familiar name in St. Clair. We had a chance to interview him after the press conference was over, and it's race control chairman, race control headquarters man, Mr. Bob Courier. Bob, we caught up with and asked him about the race and what was going to happen this year. At this point, early on, how many boats do you think you're going to have for this spectacular new race?
Paul, this partnership has already had boat counts hitting 60 in the first two race sites in the series. Cocoa Beach was the first site this year of the series, and they had 59 boats race in that event in 5 different races. In Lake of the Ozarks, they had 53 teams answer roll call on race day.
Over the years, have you approached that number here in the St. Clair River?
In 2000, we were fortunate enough to host an APBA national event, and we had 98 boats register and race 5 races over 2 days.
Okay, so we should be looking forward to testing on Saturday. Anything on Friday?
The only thing that will be going on Friday, obviously the teams will be coming into town. They'll start coming into town Wednesday evening this year. There may be a few of them out trying out the water on Friday on their own, but testing will be on Saturday as normal. And then on Sunday, we are tentatively scheduling and looking at 5 races on Sunday.
5 races?
5 races.
No, in the last couple of years, it's been 2 races.
It's been 2 or 3.
2 or 3, depending on the weather.
So the chess match with our commercial carrier freighter partners is underway.
Okay, the village will begin Thursday night. Normally the road closes at 6 o'clock on Thursday evening.
This year, the race village will open on Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. The road will be closed on Wednesday. The highway department has been gracious enough to give us another day. So that'll give the added number of teams a little bit more time to get in town and get squared away.
How about volunteers? Can the Blue Water Offshore Race Committee use additional volunteers?
Absolutely. We can always use good volunteers, Paul.
And what would they be doing?
We probably would have them help getting the boats squared away in a race village over the course of the weekend. On Saturday and Sunday, we have to coordinate the race boats coming in and mooring up in the wet pits on the wall of the Pine River, get them ready to go out for their classes and whatnot. And we meet the first Wednesday, or now we're meeting every Wednesday till race week at 7:30. So
here at the Voyager.
We actually meet at one of our members' homes. So if they wanted to reach out to us,
go to your website?
Go to our website.
Okay. All right. I know you're busy today. Good luck. We'll see you during the race.
Thanks, Paul. Yep. I'm sure we'll be talking to you again before the race.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's Mr. Bob Courier. He, during the race weekend, he is in charge of race control. Controls all the freighters going up and down and coordinates with them and starts the races and stops the races and coordinates all the safety. Very important person at the time of the racing itself, but obviously was very involved in the recent press conference held on Wednesday, the 26th of June. Next, we had an opportunity to talk to a very busy man from Sherman Oaks, California. His name is Jeff Katofsky, and you know his name as the developer of the St. Clair Inn. Let's catch up to date about his new sponsorship responsibilities for the St. Clair River Classic. Here's Jeff.
Thanks again.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, Jeff Katofsky. Nice to see you. Welcome back to town.
Thanks, Paul.
Nice.
Thanks for the weather today. It's beautiful.
Oh,
what a beautiful day.
We did that on purpose because you were coming.
Well, I appreciate that.
Exciting news that you guys are going to be involved for a number of years with this Blue Water Offshore Race.
Yeah, no, we're excited about it. I mean, it's, as I said earlier, it's one of the sexy events out here, and we need to be involved in it. It's important. It probably draws more people than any other event here in town.
Correct.
No reason why it can't draw more. And it's good for business, it's good for my business, it's good for everybody else's business, it's good for the community. And if it's good for the community, we want to be involved.
You are, well, wait for the boat. That's a great sound, though. That's a wonderful
it's
sound.
a great sound, but not...
You don't have that in Sherman Oaks.
We don't have any of this in Sherman Oaks. No, we have a lot of horns honking because we have California traffic, but not boat traffic.
The inn is coming along.
Yes,
everybody wants it open yesterday. That's
Me too.
That's not going to happen. You want it open yesterday. Give us an up-to-date report. What's happening?
Sure. We're kicking butt and taking names.
Yep.
We got busy like bees out there.
Yep.
Had a little bit of hiccups with some of the materials that we had built elsewhere, furniture and things. They're all on the boat on their way. The carpet's on its way. I mean, it's funny. We're held up right now on carpet for a couple of weeks. We'll have the carpet early July. We'll have the furniture actually next week. I think that the outdoors, the rain. You built an ark, right? So, the water level's highest in history. That slowed down the boardwalk, right? Things you don't think about, like how does the water level hurt you? Well, I can't finish my boardwalk.
Right.
My beach is underwater.
Right.
Things like that. So I think that we'll have the old historic piece, the true historic piece, that 41 rooms. We'll have those done and ready late July, early August.
Oh, good.
You'll have 1926. Our main dining room will be open. We'll be ready by then. You'll have the fireside lounge, the sapphire room will be ready by then. Prohibition and the dive are lagging just a little bit. I think by the end of August we'll have everything done except the third floor in the North Tower. And really by the beginning of September we'll be almost completely open. We're going to do it in stages, but a big part of it is, we've got to, we're staffing up now.
Yep.
And we're getting our top line people done. Then we'll have some job fairs coming up next month and start hiring people. And then we need 3 weeks to train everybody. Because we're not going to open up unless we can give the service that we expect to give people. And so I would say, by September 1st, we're pretty much completely open. You may find that we're going to open pieces of it before.
The physical roof in front of the inn as you drive up, the cedar shake roof, that man that was up there was an artist, and he was up there and taking one piece at a time and putting it up and putting it on, and it ended up, it really looks beautiful, that whole area in front.
So if you go up to Chrissy Gore's and up to the museum, and you pull some of those old pictures up, and you look at the way that inn looked like in 1926, and you hold that up right now, it looks the same. And that was our intention. And from the roof to the spire to the doors, I mean, everything we're doing, we're trying to bring that back to life to 93 years ago. And I think we're doing a pretty good job. And with Dan Brennan and his crew and all these, I mean, it's amazing. But I said all along, we're building this with a toothbrush, not a hammer.
I happen to drive by a lot, and I see Mr. Brennan there 9 days a week, about 29 hours a day.
Well, he better be, because he tells me he does that, and he sends me pictures. But if he's not there at midnight, I want to know.
So I think one of the most positive things you've said this morning is that some of the restaurants and some of the old St. Clair Inn will be opening up slowly, but will be opening up soon.
Yes, as soon as we can. Again, we got to do it right. For instance, our hood got laid back a little bit, right? So I don't have the hood until the third week in July. The kitchen hood.
Kitchen hood.
Right, so the kitchen's ready to go. So if I had the hood today, I could get my kitchen done in a week, but I don't have my hood. And you got to wait for the hood. So it's all logistics. We'll have the hood in 3 weeks. It takes a week to put it in, and then we'll put the rest of the kitchen equipment in. Then but then you're getting your staff in there, and you're turning everything on, and you're starting to cook, and you're getting some grill marks in that grill, and you're making sure that they know how to do it. And that takes time too, and that's part of why you can't just turn the lights on and open up.
No, and as you've said, and it is critical to have your staff trained, because people will come once, and then they'll tell 100 people, oh, that was not any good.
We have to do it right from the first day we let people in there, and I will not open it until we're ready.
Mr. Kotowski, as I always say to you, thanks for coming to St. Clair.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it.
Mr. Jeff Kotowski, the developer of the St. Clair Inn, moving along, telling us the story about when and where it should be open. We're wishing him luck, and as things progress, it's going to be a pretty spectacular spot. One of the things that happens over the weekend of St. Clair River Classic is a big village right along M29 from really from Brown Street right through to the Voyager. And the fellow that's responsible for that is Joe Neoport, and we had a chance to catch up with Joe and find out about some of the entertainment and some of the things that are happening. Joe?
During the offshore weekend, there's all sorts of activities in the downtown area, and this gentleman right here is responsible for it. Tell me about what your company does.
Well, we are a special events company. We put on a lot of concerts and festivals and trade shows and stuff like that. This will be our 14th year affiliated with this event. We're very, very proud of that fact. And what we do is we basically handle everything on land. Blue Water Offshore Racing does everything on the water. We do everything on land with the bands and the vendors and all that stuff.
That's a lot of work, and you have some wonderful purveyors of food that come. Everybody raves about the vendors that you have.
Yes, we got a really nice collection of vendors that have really nice specialty items that you just you don't see anywhere else. Like, for instance, we have a company called Different Twist Pretzels, and it's the best pretzel you'll ever have in your life. And they have all kinds of different pretzels, like regular pretzels, pizza pretzels, that kind of thing. And it's a huge draw. Every year, everybody asks me, are they coming back? Are they coming back? And so it's stuff like that, and barbecue vendors. Redwood Grill is another one that they bring out the big smoker and they're roasting all kinds of.
You're making me hungry.
Yeah, it's just really good. So yeah, it's stuff that you just normally don't see at a lot of events.
Let's talk about entertainment. The barge comes up on Friday night and Saturday night.
Correct.
What kind of lineups do we have lined up, or is it too early?
No, everything's been announced. Everything's on our website. The headlining band on Friday night is the Spin Doctors. They were a really big band in the early to mid 90s. And then we have Saturday's headliner is Blue Oyster Cult, which was a very big band in the 70s and 80s. And then we have a lot of local bands from St. Clair County and Macomb County that are playing in front of them. So altogether, I think we got about 12 bands over the 2 days. And then there's no music on Sunday because that's race day.
There used to be a band that would come on once in a great while, and I think the mayor was involved in that. Do you remember that band? And
Yes.
Can we pull them out of retirement?
You know what? You're going to have to talk to the mayor about that. But the name of the band escapes me, but I absolutely remember them, and they were a lot of fun.
They were a lot of fun. Well, how can the people help you?
You know, just come on out and have a good time. Spread the word. It's the 14th year of the live entertainment, and it's the 25th year of the boat races, and it's going to be the biggest boat race we've had in a long, long time. So we're very excited about it, and I honestly believe it's going to be the best year that we've ever had.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Okay, that was Joe Neoport, and he is guaranteeing that you will have fun at the Fun Fest along M29, even if the boats aren't in the water at the time you stop by. Lots of food, lots of fun, lots of entertainment. And finally, during this segment, before we get to the press conference, we had a chance to talk to Chuck and Kelly from Broadco racing team, and they had an interesting interview about how they got involved and why they like St. Clair.
Well, as you saw in the press conference, Broadco is quite involved in this race. The sponsorship from the St. Clair Inn and other groups that are supporting you. Talk to me about yourself, your wife, and racing.
Well, you know, this is where it all started. Back in 2012, I believe it was, my wife and I were out on the lake one day just enjoying this Saturday afternoon sun. Told her that I had this crazy idea that I wanted to sponsor an offshore racing boat. And she said, well, hey, I've got this girlfriend whose boyfriend has a boat, and I bet you can sponsor that boat. Well, lo and behold, we ran into that person that day out on the lake. All the way from New Jersey. He just happened to be here in Michigan, so it was fate. So we had a few cocktails together, came up with a grand plan to debut our racing career here at the St. Clair River Classic back in 2012. So
how did you do that first year?
We actually came in second place.
Oh my God, wonderful.
Evil Ed, took the checker flag. Ed, the hometown hero. But we had a great race. I mean, we blew an engine actually towards the end, which kind of took us out of it. But I was so excited. I said, how fast can we get the engine rebuilt so we can make the next race? So I was instantly hooked.
I understand from before we started that you are the owner of the boat,
Yes,
and
I
he
am.
only works for you.
Right, I let him
You
drive
like to
it.
keep it that way.
Yes, I own it and I let him drive it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That helps for the arguments about what's going to go on. And
Right.
You just tell him.
I do.
So
for once.
how is your excitement? What do you feel about racing?
Oh, I love it. It's in my blood too. 2017, I actually drove our boat here in the St. Clair River, and Chuck throttled, and it was the best experience ever because I'm always behind the scenes, making sure everything's going on, communicating with him when he's out on the water, letting him know what's going on the course and things. So I'm always behind the scenes. So for once, I got to be in it, and it was amazing. I love it. I'm excited. I can't wait to get back and see all of our friends that became family for racing.
Do you see a lot of married couples in the sport?
A ton of them. It's really become over the year. I think prior to me being involved in boat racing, not so much, but I think the last probably 10, 15 years or more, it's a very family-oriented sport. Specifically for us, most of our crew and all of our supporters within our actual organization are family members, but we're seeing there's tons of families out here.
A lot of women on the boats.
It's become quite the family sport.
Okay, when I'm here on Saturday, when I'm here on Sunday, what do I look for and how do I spot you?
So we're going to be down in front of the St. Clair Inn. We'll have our presentation down there, our support trailer, and of course you're going to see all kinds of black and yellow down there.
Yeah. Okay. And then in categories of racing, are there numbers? There's going to be 70, 80 boats, 90 boats. How do we determine what class you're going to be in?
Okay, so yes, there's probably they're talking, like you said, 70 to 80 boats. We are in the Super Cat class. So we are in what would be the second to largest class. The largest class is going to be the
spectacular ones when you go around. It looks beautiful.
International Class 1 class is going to be the largest class boats. But we're going to probably have, in our Super Cat class, by far the most competitive class in boat racing, I think, but we have a very large participation entry.
9.
We're going to have probably 8 or 9 boats just in our class. And they typically would give us our own race, so it's not going to be, there's going to be no confusion when we're out there that we're all in the same class.
Right. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Have a great race.
Thank you.
We'll be talking again.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Chuck and Kelly, they will be there racing all weekend, the 26th, 27th, and 28th of July. The St. Clair River Classic is coming up once again, as you've heard already, the 25th anniversary of this race, and it sounds to me like it's going to be the biggest one ever. There was a press conference. The aforementioned press conference is coming up in a second. And we thank you for watching this portion of it. Enjoy the press conference, and we'll see you after. Now here's the mayor of the city of St. Clair.
Welcome everyone. 25 years this race has been going on. The first year they did it, they had 14 boats. Took an hour and a half to run the race. Now they're going to be over 60. It's going to take a whole weekend probably. Bob Courier, Mr. Bruner, and Butch Kinsfader. If you'd have known us 50 years ago playing hockey in our backyard, you never know that what they could be accomplished and what they've done. And everybody that's involved in this race, it's amazing. Jeff Bohm, and now we got Rick and Jeff on this team. I think everything is just moving up. It's just great stuff. Thanks for being out here, you guys. It's going to be a great weekend when we get down there. And there's so many people putting so much time and hard work in this. To thank them all. There's so many and so much. I'm going to introduce Bob Courier, and everybody have a great day today and a great race weekend when we get there.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm Bob Courier, and it's my honor to be the Secretary-Treasurer for Blue Water Offshore Racing Association, and I will be acting as your moderator today for this press conference. I might add, this is the first ever press conference held by Blue Water Offshore Racing. And there's some exciting things going to be happening this year. And we'll wait for one of our landmarks to get through that. So it's a great day, as the mayor said. Mother Nature has cooperated. We want you all to kind of capture today, hang on to it, because we really want this kind of weather the last weekend of July for our event. This is an international race course. To our knowledge, it is the only site in offshore racing where the course actually is in both the United States and Canada, making it truly international. And with some of the partnerships that have been formed in the off season, this will truly be an international race. with teams coming from across the ocean, Europe, New Zealand, and the United Arab Emirates. At this time, I'd like to ask the Blue Water Offshore team to come forward and form a backdrop as I ask President Steve Bruner to come up and make some remarks as part of today's event.
Thanks, Bob. Good morning to everybody. And this is all about announcing the race that's going to happen July 26th, 27th, and 28th. It's our 25th consecutive race, which is important. There's a lot of sites around the country that have put on races for a lot of years, but not consecutively, and we haven't missed a beat. And all that's thanks to our great volunteers and team we've put together. This will be one of the most exciting races, if not only for the amount of boats, is the where all the boats come from. We've got coming from all over the world to come here and race. And you'll be able to talk to racers, and it's one of the favorite race sites around the country. And we will have more race teams this year than we've had since the year 2000. Last time we hosted an APBA national event, which this will be APBA again, so that makes it a very satisfying return to APBA Offshore. The race field's also going to include a lot of returning champions. St. Clair and this local area have produced a lot of champion racers because they put their time and effort and, of course, money into it. And one of those, of course, including St. Clair's own Ed Smith. And coming out of retirement this year is 2014 world champion Chuck and Kelly Brodus in the Broadco team with Blue Water roots, and glad to see them back here. One of the big things is the partnership that goes into having a successful race site. There's so much division in these race organizations, and this year we've got cooperation bringing teams from Powerboat P1 and OPA. That cooperation is just producing some great racing and unprecedented cooperation. So I want to give a thank you to Azam Rangoonwala from Powerboat P1 and Ed Smith, the other Ed Smith, from OPA and the Jersey Boys. With that, I'll turn the mic back over to Bob Courier.
Thanks, Steve. Any of you who have traveled, especially air travel and cross-country travel, know that those logistics can get challenging at certain points in time. And our best laid plans sometimes don't work out the way we always would have liked them to. We had hoped and planned that Azam and Smitty would both be here for this historic event, but they sent us prepared statements that they would like to have everyone here as part of this event. And at this time, I would like to ask Blue Water Vice President Butch Kinsvater to come forward with Azam's remarks.
Thanks, Bob. Good morning from Florida. I'm very sorry not to be able to join you all this morning, but very pleased that Smitty is with you, which he isn't, to represent the new APBA Offshore Championship. Partnerships are at the heart of Powerboat P1 business, and our decision towards the end of last year to join forces with OPA Racing to launch the new Offshore Race Series was a hugely significant one. Since my father founded the P1 business in 2003, the same year that Smitty set up OPA, we have staged more than 600 powerboat and jet ski races in 18 countries on 4 continents. And the birth of this new circuit, as it has been described in the media, is an immensely exciting development. OPA Racing and P1 are very different companies with different cultures and expertise. but we have all gelled very well and realized that this is a great opportunity to bring everyone together to make the best possible series for the sport. We want to strengthen the future of offshore racing by delivering an expanded, cohesive, world-class series split equally between the North and South, with race venues in Florida, Missouri, Indiana, and of course, Michigan. We have identified several important areas where we believe the partnership will produce significant results commercially and in terms of the sports organization and profile. We've been getting a great response from the offshore racing teams, both here in the United States and internationally. There is a very much an international flavor to the new series, with high-profile teams from the UAE and Australia committed to the series and racers from 10 countries. Our aim is always to stage events that excite and entertain, ensuring enjoyment for spectators with sponsor value and a real economic impact for the host venues. We believe that combining our new racing partnership with Blue Water Offshore Racing Association's experience in race production in St. Clair and the entertainment and vendors managed by FunFest Productions will enhance this year's River Classic as you celebrate your 25th anniversary. Congratulations on that impressive milestone. Let me leave you with the words of multiple offshore world champion Steve Curtis after Miss Geico's victory in the opening event of the championship. It was a return to the halcyon days of offshore racing. So many boats, very competitive, and truly international. Everyone is very positive. Thank you.
Thank you, Butch. Now I'm going to ask one of Blue Water Offshore's former board members, longtime volunteer, behind-the-scenes guy, but also now the chair of the St. Clair County Board of Commission, Jeff Bohm, and Jeff is going to deliver Smitty's prepared comments.
First of all, before I get started, I would like to thank Mike Laporte for hosting us down here today. Could I get a little round of applause for Mike? So Smitty was not able to be with us here today. Hello from New Jersey and the shores of the Atlantic Ocean. I regret that last-minute challenges prevent me from being here in St. Clair this morning with all of you and my good friends of the Blue Water Offshore Racing Association. It has been 14 years since the partnership between Offshore Racing Association and the Blue Water Offshore Racing Association began, and the OPA is proud to be returning on this historic year, the 25th anniversary of the St. Clair River Classic Offshore Race. Our teams from OPA hold this race site close to our hearts and feel right at home in your wonderful community, and looking forward to our 14th year racing here. Your venue is comfortable with everything close to the race village and the race course. Blue Water and its amazing team of volunteers work like a well-oiled machine in managing the event. My hat is off to this great team. This year's event brings more excitement to the sport as OPA has partnered with a great international racing organization, Powerboat P1. This partnership and the APBA Offshore Championship Series are bringing renewed interest in our sport, increased boat count to our race sites with teams from many countries. This year's St. Clair River Classic can expect 60 race teams and their families to visit for the weekend, provide some truly exciting racing, and be available for our fans to get right up close and personal with our boats and team members in Race Village along the Main Street in downtown St. Clair. And I am truly excited about the major announcement being made here today in supporting of this magnificent race site. Many racers over the years have set their sights on Key West, Florida as being their favorite race venue, and it is said to be the best, you must win Key West. I will tell you, St. Clair has become known as the Key West of the North. Congratulations, Blue Water Offshore in the city of St. Clair on your 25th anniversary. And I'm going to say a few comments. Many of you here know that I get the opportunity to announce the races every year. And one of my favorite lines I get a chance to say every year, I say, "This race has been going on so long, Butch Kinsvater even had hair." It's a long time, Butch. I've personally been involved for the last 15 years, and it's really exciting to see that renewed boat count this year. And Jeff and Rick, I can't thank you enough for being part of this today and doing what you do. The St. Clair really being gone from this race for the last X amount of years has really put a big void in it to take it to that next level. So with your investment in the town, I do appreciate that. My team, I see a lot of the people out here. Mr. Burgess, for all your help with the crane, Brian and Joe and the guys behind me, and police chief and everybody. Really just thank you for all your efforts.
Thank you, Jeff. You came close to letting the major announcement out of the bag there. So you've heard an underlying theme in the comments from Azam and Smitty that this is about partnerships. Racing, as so many other things, are all about the partnerships that you build over time. Driver and throttleman in the race boat together, and if you're not all that familiar with racing, the Broadco boat is behind us here, and there is a seat for the driver and the throttleman. I want you to think about driving your car with your spouse in the other seat. One of you has the steering wheel, and the other one has the gas pedal. What about a partnership there to make that happen so that boat doesn't go over in a turn or in one of the straightaways? It's about race sanctioning organizations working with local race producers, OPA and P1 coming together and partnering with 6 local race producers over the course of this year's racing season in the APBA Offshore Championship Series. It's about Blue Water working within the local community. Local, state, and federal agencies who partner with racing organizations to ensure that permits are issued, permissions are granted as necessary, and public safety is in the forefront of planning. Race teams partner with sponsors. This is not an inexpensive sport. And local race promoters also work very closely with many sponsors. And it's very exciting to Blue Water Offshore Racing Association that part of this press event today is to announce the addition of a new major sponsor and partner to our team. And with that, I'd like to ask Jeff Kotowski from the St. Clair Inn to come forward.
Thanks for coming out here to California. I brought this with me. It's beautiful today out here. In fact, Bohm's going out to California tonight. He's getting ready by not wearing socks. So you're good. Rick and I are really excited about what's coming up. The St. Clair River Classic is one of many events that's thrown here in St. Clair. There are a lot of great events. This one might be the sexiest. And we felt that it was important as we try to become more of your community. Again, we're not from here. We understand it, but we're here a lot, and you've certainly embraced us, and we feel that it's important as we try to become more and more a part of this community, as we spend more time here, not only ourselves, but soon with our families quite a bit, that we get involved. And one way to get involved is to support events. And what event do you support? Well, you start with the St. Clair River Classic. And so we have decided to become a major sponsor of the event. We're not quite ready to use the hotel in it from a stay standpoint. We're getting there. The weather hurt us the last couple months. We were trying to get ready for it. We may still try to do some things over there, but we're going to miss it by a couple of weeks, I think. But we're really excited about being part of this event and helping out any way that we can and become more and more part of this community. And this isn't just a one-year thing for us. This is something we want to be involved in going forward. We've missed the first 24 years, but we missed the first 92 years of the hotel too. So here we are, and we're going to get rolling, and this is the first year we're going to do it. And part of what we're going to do is also support the 2014 World Champion team with Chuck and Kelly Brodko. We're going to be supporting them as well and sponsoring them. We're really excited about that. Not only are we here in a fabulous city on a great river, but now we're supporting a winner too. So with that, let me ask Chuck to come up and say a couple of words.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Chuck brought us. This is my wife, Kelly. We are ecstatic about returning to the wonderful sport of offshore racing. The last couple of years, we've kind of sat on the sidelines and watched all of our, the friends that we've encountered over the years that we've made within this organization. We've watched them and supported them and continued to race. We actually raced with Ed Smith in the Cleveland Construction Group. I drove the boat for Ed in the World Championship in Key West the year before last. So we didn't remove ourselves too far, but we are absolutely we can't wait. I mean, we're totally stoked, ready to go out and do this. This year brings, and part of the reason for us to make this decision to go back and race again is the partnership between OPA and P1 brings a unity that we haven't seen in the offshore racing world for many years, and everybody is completely jumped on board, and the momentum that is being created is astounding. So we wish to see this continue to move forward, to grow and to prosper within the racing community and the racing organizations, to be able to make all of the events as super as this one's going to be. With all of this racing that happens, sponsorship is important, and in order to be able to go out and make this happen, a lot of the teams require sponsorship. We definitely couldn't do this without the help of our sponsors that we've managed to gather this year, including the folks here from St. Clair Inn. Jeff and Rick are a couple of amazing guys. We want to commend them and thank them not only for the support of our racing team here this year, but also for their investment in this community. It's probably the best thing that's happened in a long time here, and I think everybody is going to really prosper from it and enjoy it. Yes, and then we've got Dave Burgess here, who's also providing some sponsorship support for us, and also he provides a crane service here. And once again, with all of the people that come together, including the Blue Water Offshore guys, who by far put together probably the most organized, successful race event of all of the ones that we run. They've got this down to a science. They've got something to deal with here that no other race course has to deal with, and that's freighter traffic. So we have to make way for the big boats, but they do everything in their power to make sure that they try to clear that schedule so that doesn't happen. And if it does, it's minimally disruptive, and it's in between the races. So once again, I'm happy to be back, and I'm thankful for everybody that came out today, and thankful for these folks here and all of the people that support offshore racing. And let's go racing.
Thanks, Chuck. It's great to have you guys back. So as Jeff Katofsky mentioned, they have decided, Jeff and Rick have decided to make a major investment over a number of years with the St. Clair River Classic. And I am excited to announce that the race will now be known as the St. Clair River Classic, presented by the St. Clair Inn. This concludes the planned portion of our press conference.
Well, thank you very much, Bob Courier and Steve Bruner from Blue Water Offshore Racing for organizing this press conference, and we salute you for all your efforts. For the 25th year, the St. Clair River Classic comes up the 26th, 27th, and 28th of July. CTV and Focus will be along for the ride, and we'll have more of these programs as we get closer. Till next time, I'm Paul Dingeman. Thanks very much for tuning in.
Thanks for watching Focus with Paul Dingeman. Focus is produced at the CTV Community Television Studios in St. Clair. For over 20 years, CTV has captured the moments that matter to our community.